Good morning, darlings. So, as always, finding that right moment to talk to you and gathering all the information between videos. So, there is an enormous amount, and the first thing that I'm taking you to look at is the journey of Venus, because everything is about this last buckle before the Paris Olympics and the last great eclipse, cross American eclipse, that will be next April, the 8th of April. So the opening of these great eclipses was in 2017. And that was when we had the worldwide fires. We had the fires in California, very similar to what we've just seen in Maui, Hawaii. So Hawaii is the how, the wow, the two directions of the wheel. The wheel is 360 degrees, half and opposition is 180. And the lunar north and south node, Rahu and Ketu, spend 18 months in each sign. They're now sitting at the end of Alpha Omega, Libra, High Cardinal Air, Omega, and we've got the head of the snake ending 18 months in High Cardinal Fire, ruled by Mars, and Venus that ruled where the South Node is in High Cardinal Air. So they're at those last degrees, and we have just had these terrible fires in Maui. So this map here is showing us these great eclipses, including, so 2017, we've got here 2017, then we've got the great eclipse of 2023 here, and we've got next year, just before the Paris Olympics, this line here that will cross back over the axis of 2017, and we're going to have it back again over Louis. And this is making the A, this is making that A, Alpha Omega, I am the one and only gods. So I was just looking for that image. This is what we have, the communism. So that is representative of the hammer and the sickle. The hammer and the sickle and the Bolshevik red flag. So with the victory of the Bolsheviks in the Russian Revolution, the red flag with a star symbolizing the party, hammer to symbolize the workers, and sickle to symbolize peasants became the official flag of Russia. And in 1923 of the Soviet Union, it remained so until the breakup of the Soviet Union in 1991. So this A is what we see in the flag there. So we've still got the solar eclipse of October the 14th, and these two eclipses, the solar and the lunar, are both going to be in Virgo, and this whole retrograde invisibility of Venus, she's completely invisible today, is a build-up to these eclipses coming. So we'll be getting into all this, but on the 5th of August, that's your Hawaii 5-0 up. We had Jack D'Artagnan opening the fires of Gascon, and that was the day that my best friend died, in that night before. So I've had quite a week. Her funeral, and Punky, my cat, who has been very sick for the past 4 months, reached a climax of his sickness. So, and I've also had a lot of work, so and also observing all this happening. So this happened on the 5th in the Ile de Noé, Noah's Ark, Jane of Arc. Jane of Arc, that is your right, left side of your brain, between your subconscious and conscious, from your subjective and objective, that those 18 months of the lunar nodes that mark the solar and the lunar path. We're finding the 888, the closing of Venus's last cycle in 8 years before the Olympics, before the closure of X marks the cross. This is the rising of Jacques, Pierre. Jupiter rules Pisces, Peter, Pierre, and Paul, Sagittarius. So Neptune has just entered for 15 years Pisces, and Pluto has just gone back to Sagittarius, both ruled by Jupiter. And Jupiter is in Aries, where the North Node is on that last degree, which is the most powerful degree before entering the mutable cross, feminine axis, corona, virus, CV, the 322, to mark the new equinox, fall, spring horizon. And Venus is rising as the morning star in the east. She's rising again as the morning star in the east. Ishtar, east star. And that's why in my village, the 5-pointed star, they kill 8 bulls every Easter day, because Taurus is the first sign to fall onto the fixed cross. And we're wavering now, leaving Gemini, and we're still on the 3 other mutable signs, 369, Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius. And we're going to rise the dark side of Venus as Venus moves from her, after her retrograde, she moves forward on the 3rd of September. That's 39, that's 39 or 36. 36 people were, now the numbers have obviously are a lot higher, but for the announcement of the fires in Hawaii, they made sure that that number 36 was the number. And then we're going to have Mercury going retrogrades on the 20th, 23rd. We'll be going to have a look, the 20th or the 23rd of August, and Mercury will be completely blinded by the sun, as Venus is today, on the on the 6th of the 9th. So that's 69, that's Virgo and Sagittarius. And that's what we see in, there was a film, a disanimated film about Maui, where you have the fire god that meets the girl, just like in Jupiter ascending. This is Jupiter merging with the earth, with the triple goddesses. He's going to make Capricorn his, and Virgo and Taurus. He's going to make himself Jack with the triple goddesses. This is very symbolic, the death of my friend Jane. I met her in Compiègne. Compiègne is where the English caught Joan of Arc, Jeanne d'Arc, which is our third eye, that fifth element to make the five-pointed star. And it's also where the armistice was signed between Compiègne and Laine. So l'Oise, the eye, the goose, the Gascon is where we kill the geese, and Laine is the N, Laine is also wool, it's the sheep, it's the lamb. And the armistice dates that were signed 1918, was it 1918? 1918, the 11th of November, 1111, all for one for all. And it's all about not, subconsciously not letting us find that medulla, that stone in the middle of our skull. So in Pierrefonds, next to is the stone at the fond. Pierre means stone. Pole is a word for the pole. So again, like the orb and the spectre, it's the spine and the stone. It's all about Merlin. So where they filmed Merlin in the chateau of Pierrefonds, we had the central bar burnt down. This is where I used to live. Chateau of Pierrefonds. So this chateau is where they filmed Merlin and Arthur. And this is in the heart. It's in northeast. I now live in the southwest. So that is the axis of the galactic gap. And on this northeast, this chateau, which was in the village I used to live in, Maui in the Valley. Maui in the Valley is the gorge. It's the bird between our temples. It's the bird, the canary, the can stuck in the can. And in this pierre, the stone, in the heart, where they have this castle that Michael Jackson wanted to buy, and we just had Pierrefonds, fire, incendie, tabac. So all this since, so this fire was, all this has been, was on the 7th of August. They burnt the central tabac, the pierre, the stone, where they filmed the series of Merlin and Arthur, which is the axis of Sagittarius Gemini 3936, where in Hawaii 50, the hand of Fatima, Venus, the 5, has just been completely burnt down. So again, in the northeast, just like Pierrefonds, but much further northeast, 11 people were killed on the 9th of August. So 11 handicapped people, and Saturn is at home in the 11th house, as Mercury, Mars, and Venus all sat in Leo, opposite Saturn. 11 people killed in this fire, all since the opening d'Artagnan at the Ile de Noé, Noah's Ark, and my friend Jeanne d'Arc died on that day. So there has not been such a terrible fire in France with so many people killed since 2016, which is the summer solstice 666, 216, and then on the 5th of December, so that's December is 10, 5, We had Johnny Hallyday that died. HAL. HAL is the main computer program in Odyssey 2001, the same year as 9/11. And he is famous in France for his most famous song, Start the Fires, Allumez le Fire, Allumez the Fire. So he died on 5/10/2017. That makes 10, 7, 8, 9, 10. At the age of 74, that makes 10. So they've had on the and at 10:10 p.m. So we've got say 10, 5, 10, and all the fires opened, and we are at exactly 22 years. That's the Venus flight trap. V is the number 22, Venus. And all this has happened at the end of Venus's cycle of 8 years. And my village is the 5-pointed star. Between the 4 humours, there is the 5th hidden element, Christ, that always sits. Blood, phlegm, black bile, yellow bile. So blood, phlegm, black bile, and yellow bile. Blood, air, phlegm, water, earth, black, yellow, fire, images. And we've got, this is the best image to show that 5th element, Christ in the middle. And we've got Mary Ryan, the Maypole Queen, my great-grandmother that I keep telling you about. Everybody's looking in the other direction, and here in the northeast is the imposter on that angle where these two fires have been. And the next up, and the next production coming up in London is this, and it's called The White Factory, and this man in the middle is wiped out. So this is the production that my son is doing all the music. And I started making videos because they did a production in London in 2018, which was called The Death of the Girl. And now we're rising this new Venus in Virgo, and Venus will be arriving in Virgo as the morning star, as Ishtar, the whore of Babylon. And this is what we're going through now with this movement of Venus after her retrograde. She moves forward back to Leo and then back to Virgo for these great lunar and solar eclipse that we will have. So this is going to be from the 14th of September to the 4th of November after the eclipses. Let's go and have a look. So Venus, let's watch Venus's journey. Here we've got the black moon on the 16th. Then Venus is going to be back to Cancer. So today, completely blinded and just back to Cancer. That's today. Mars is going to enter Virgo on the 18th. Mercury will be conjunct to the moon. And then we're just going to watch now Mars moving in. Yesterday in the rugby, France, the Blues, Allez les Bleus, beat Scotland. So Scotland is the true head. Mary, Queen of Scots, was beheaded. And this show, this show in London is going to be held at Marylebone, Mary and Mary the Bone, Mary the Bone. So Mercury begins his retrogrades. Let's go to his retrograde beginning. So he's stationary from the 21st. And then he's going to be completely blinded by the sun on that 9/6, 69, 96. And then we're going to have Venus on her way back. We're just going to watch this for Venus. We can look at everything else. So Venus will arrive in Virgo on the 4th, 3rd, on the 3rd. She arrives as the sun enters Libra in November. So this show is happening in London just as the sun spends all its time in Virgo, and we're going to have the eclipses. Have a look at the eclipses. 14th of October. 14th of October, we've got Mercury exalted, domicile, at home in Virgo, and we're going to have the solar eclipse with Mercury very visible right in Tess d'Urberville, the material girl, the Tess LA woman, rising of the 15-minute city, the city girl, the urba girl, the material girl in this blue star, La Marianne, rising this energy of this new woman on the 14th. So that's solar, because by this time we have got the head of the snake, the tail of the snake, which has moved from Libra into Virgo, and opposite then on the 28th. On the 28th, we have a lunar, so the moon in Pisces. In Pisces for that, and that will be right on the head of the snake that has just moved from Aries to Pisces. So, you know, I just can't express how enormous this is. And then the sun will move into Libra with Mars and Mercury. And Venus, the ruler, in detriment, moving into Virgo on the 3rd of November. So the white factory, white is over. We're back to black. We're going to have Pluto returning for the 3rd of January. That makes 13, 1, 3. It's back to Pluto for 20 years. And the White House was the home of Juliet Cameron. And I'm actually just reading a book at the moment, which is incredible. It's all about, I'll show you. I'm reading this book here by Lynn Truss. Truss is a word meaning hemorrhoids. Truss meaning like Liz Truss that we had in England. Truss meaning to truss someone means to tie them up very tightly so they cannot move. She trussed, so, you know, trussed, comprising of an elegant knitted flexible strap having a belt loop at one end. So you see a little bit the meaning of truss. And of course we had in France Elizabeth, Elizabeth born, that was at the site of the 11 people killed at this gîte, burnt in a fire in Alsace, the northeast of France. So, you know, we're coming into the Elizabeth line. Elizabeth killed Mary, Queen of Scots, as we rise the dark side of the moon. It's exactly 50 years since 73. We're at that merging, that passage. And this book is all about that period. And you've got in the book, you've got the young Lewis Carroll, who was all part of the intellectuals, and Tennyson, and the maids, and the servants, the slaves, the Irish slaves. My great-grandmother, who is depicted as the Maypole Queen. So Pierre, Paul, the stone, the spine, pole, Maypole. And now we've got the A-lion. This is what these fires were all about. They are due. They are those. And as I've mentioned many times in this video, this famous video that my friend, my DJ, was taken polo and Pan. So Paul the pole is now holding Pan. It's the flying flat saucer on the top of the pole. When they spin plates on poles, you got flats. And they did this famous video 8 years ago, which depicts Hawaii paradise, paradise lost, PP, the pole and the pan. And just like in, so you've got the Jungle Book, and here we've got Hawaii, Elvis. Elvis is Elle lives, she lives, evil. This is the atomic energy, the Wizard of Oz. And this was the first video he did. And there you've got Jupiter, the Tin Man, the Scarecrow, the Harvest, and Huckleberry Finn in the polo. And you will see, I've been showing this video for years, and now it happened, those fires. So welcome to the world. You've got this, and then you've got the aliens arrive, and this is your due. The egg and the directed energy weapons that burn paradise. And they also show Paris and the Eiffel Tower. So I'm not sure how that will. And there's your pan, the flying saucer pan, the pan and the pole. Notre Dame, the falling of the old lady, Notre Dame. And just like in The Wizard of Oz, and exactly like the dark side of the moon, you've got the black and white to colour, from spirit to flesh. Coronavirus, Corona Virgo are the grapes, the flesh, to become spirits in Pisces, and that's where the North and the South Node are about to go back to, and just complete destruction and the fires. So very like it much in 9/11, people jumping from the buildings, they made sure that they spoke about that people jumping into the water in Maui. August the 10th, 2023, Deadly Maui Inferno, Hell on Earth. Elvis, L lives. The alien, LN of Troy. And this is exactly like the fires that we saw in California at the opening of this X marks the spot, great eclipses. This is on the longitude 20, which is the same as Mexico, the same as same as in Saudi Arabia, where they go to the Mecca. It's on the same latitude. And so he makes the connection with the Simpsons. They say don't go to holiday to Alaska. So in Alaska, on the 7th, they had flooding, fire and ice, and they had the fire in Maui. So 7 and the 9, the 76, last time Pluto was in Capricorn was the 1776, the American Revolution in Juno. Juno is, we'll have a look on the chart when we look at the chart where Juno is for all this. She is that very pushy, she is the dark side. So there is that famous gap that I've been talking to you about, which makes the 55 kilometers between this touching of Russia and Alaska, between Russia and Canada. RC, Charles REX, the Chi RHO, the sword in the stone, right here. And Hawaii is just underneath. So we've got the Gulch, we've got the passage. So he's just saying here, you can go anywhere you want, but Hawaii and Alaska. 36. So what does the word Maui mean? Trickster god. Maui is a boy's name of Hawaiian and Maori origin. Let's go back and read that. This name belongs to a trickster god in Polynesian mythology and was also given to one of the Hawaiian islands. Making the 5-pointed star upside down with the horns at the top, when this should be this image of finding that central 5, when you've got the 4, when you find your 4 humours and you can find the Christ in the middle. Christianity. So there are 4 islands And I think that there's actually 5 if we go and have a look. So one of the islands attacked, leaving 4, getting rid of that 5th element. And what I wanted to show you, so again, this is a Uno video. So Venus represents the all-seeing eye. Was the 10th. And so this film, you've got Sagittarius, Jupiter becoming Vulcan, when Mercury, when Venus, when any planet is combust to the sun, you bring up this Vulcan energy. When Venus is blinded, all her compassion and aesthetic values go. I'm going to have Venus coming into Virgo. So 9 and 6, Mercury will be completely blinded by the sun on the 6th of September. That's 9-6, just after Venus moves forward on the 3rd of September. So just like in Jupiter ascending with the girl, you've got this Virgo girl rising, Beauty and the Beast, same thing. She's on land, she's by the sea, but she's got her 2 feet. She's no longer the Little Mermaid, and she joins. So always very, very clever. Uno. And it's just, you know, this is just so disturbing, but, you know, it's all to rebuild these 15-minute cities. The girl, it was a story very much like in The Tempest of Miranda and Prospero, the girl meeting Saturn, facing death. And this is happening exactly on the journey of the sun in Virgo. And it ends on the day, on the 4th, and we've got the sun that enters Libra at the end of October, and just it will end as the sun enters Libra with Mars and Mercury, and Venus enters Virgo on the 3rd. Because all the information is here. Here you've got about how the combust brings up this Vulcan energy, and everything I've been explaining. This is very well written. I added from a friend on Facebook. We humans are X eggs. It's the cosmic egg plasma event. X is an ancient symbol of the intersection of the spiritual and the material world. As above, so below. They want to destroy, hack, hijack our spirit cosmos connection. Note to self, simply put, these predators, a lion, sociopaths, psychopaths, narcissists, want to activate the reptilian brain to keep our emotions, feelings in a constant state of alertness. The amygdala, part of the reptile brain, that's the medulla, is involved in controlling and processing different emotions, feelings like fear, anger, and pleasure, as well as motivation, frequently immune system low. It is part of the limbic system, animal instinct, flight, fight, flight, freeze, working memory, also known as short-term memory, processes incoming information so that it can be stored in long-term memory. The reptilian brain, through the elements, SDGs, nano, black goo, will the alien be activated plasma event. They will hijack the amygdala erasing memories and entering artificial memories according to manipulate. This is the part of the brain the predators can control by activation remotely. That is the physical part of the remote control, because by overstimulating it, you're not entering the natural quantum field levels, but their artificial world. Meter, Project Bluebeam. So this is your blue star. Activation, Spiker. And you saw for that solar eclipse, we're going to have all the planets right on Spiker for the 14th. Let's get that moon right on the sun, right on Spiker. And the most important thing with all this happening is that Uranus is conjunct to Algol, completely conjunct to Algol. That is your stone, your pierre, that is your medusa. And Uranus is going to be going retrograde and then forward, and will be back at this point for the next eclipse. October the 14th. October the 14th, right on the blue beam, blue star, Betty Blue, 37.2 degrees with Beatrice Dalle. Beatrice and Dalle is the stone, So the next one, 28th of April. It's very important, so let's go see that. The 24th, the 4th, 84 is exactly the cycle of Uranus. The last time that Uranus was on Medusa was in 1939, so the 8th of the 4th. We're going to have Uranus conjunct Jupiter on Medulla. On that Medulla, Jupiter will still be in Aries. It will be retrograde. It will be coming back. Let's see. So let's see. Jupiter. Okay, so let's watch Jupiter. So Jupiter going retrograde, will be retrograde for these coming months during the eclipses in October, and then he will move forwards. It's going to go all the way back to the beginning of Aries. He's probably going to touch, he'll therefore be touching the North Node that will have just entered Pisces, and then he's going to move forwards, and for that last eclipse of the great eclipse, he is going to be conjunct to Uranus right there on Medulla. Wow. So this eclipse, we've got a solar eclipse, the sun and the moon in Pisces, and that is going to be very much the death of Europe, of the white energy, Pisces. And then we'll have Saturn and Mars conjunct in Aquarius, Venus exalted and at home, the Little Mermaid. So the death of the Little Mermaid, so that they can properly rise for the Paris Olympics, 26th of July. the moon on Aldebaran, of course, and Mars back in Taurus, where Mars was for when the date that he'll be on Aldebaran. Mars and Jupiter this is August. August. July 26th, we've got Jupiter on Aldebaran and Mars, so that's your Martin. Uranus will have properly entered Taurus. Let's click onto Uranus. Uranus is properly into Taurus, rising the dark side of the moon for the Olympics, this Marianne. And until the 11th, then we're going to have moon joining in. On that 8-4, we're going to have a black moon and Venus conjunct to Regulus. Goodness. So everything is preparation now for this Olympics coming up. Erasing memories and entering artificial memories according to manipulate. This is the part of the brain the predators can control by activation remotely. That is the physical part of the remote control, because by overstimulating it, you're not entering the natural quantum fields levels, but they're artificial worlds. Project Bluebeam. Activation, pineal, or locked into their artificial web. They want to awaken the alien, primitive primate instinct before you find your head open your pineal. Any strong emotion, anxiety, joy, or betrayal trips off the amygdala and impairs the prefrontal cortex, she means vortex, I think, working memory. The power of emotions overwhelms rationality. There will only be some room for free will if we can create some sort of impulse and self-control to regulate our emotions, feelings, actions. This is why it is important to be balanced, integrating the collective shadow. That's why it's important to do breath work and stay in a constant state of flow observer between two worlds and not let your feelings and emotions take control. So this is why I'm going to leave you the links, because there's so much to see here. I've put it all in order, so there's no jumping around. You can see all this, and I add pictures. So here you've got this cycle of Venus, and we are now at the day 549 disappearance. And the rising, again, we're at the superior conjunction. We're at the eastern disappearance from the evening sky, inferior, retrogression ends. So it's the cycle. Venus is visible as an evening star for 286 Earth days, as a morning star for 251 days. She makes the shape of the whale's tail. She rises, goes under the horizon, and then rises east, west, west, east, and is invisible for 47 days. So these are all the posts. I'm going to leave this for you to read in the comments. And we're going to go and have a look at that chart. So again, it's all about, that's why in Canada, the adder, the bird in the cage, in a tin can, the medulla, that 5-pointed star, It's a Helen of Troy. She wears that helmet. Sun, Moon, and you. This is the 888. Venus 8-year cycle. The Sun makes a yearly 8 path, and the Moon has 8 phases. And the great solar eclipses. This one is the one October the 14th and the 2023. So we're really coming up. It's the mirror, mirror on the wall, and there is that cycle of Venus, the east and west. And she is going to be rising as the morning star in the east, Ishtar. So in my village on Friday's Venus Day, Vendredi, Venus Day, the central tobacco put ashtrays, which were these shells, on every single table, upside down. And I went and had a wink with the man who owns, and I just say to him, I did notice, and he gives me a smile. But yeah, basically, it's best to, you know, that's how I work. I just let people know that I know. There's Joan of Arc being burnt, playing the role of the medulla, of the bird, of grace. And there is the stone that we saw, Merlin's chair. And they've just burnt the pierre fond, the stone in the heart, the depth of our skull there. And this is why I showed you in previous videos that they've now, instead of Perseus, they've got Medusa carrying the head of the man. So reversing the story. This is the dark side of the moon, that triangle, Ishtar, Whore of Babylon on the east, Virgo rising Leo, and the Leo da Vinci, and the Titanic, the submerging of the Titanic. Again, it's the drowning, this 29th degree, where we're going to have this black moon on the 16th, is submerging. It's the submerging. It's the completely being lost of the consciousness, of the conscious mind. This is in the Madeleine in Paris. The Madeleine, that's why we've had all these years. The Madeleine is the shape of the Venus in France. It's a little cake. And the little cake is that shell, and that's why Madeleine has been missing. Because you're missing your ability to see through the games. You are the portal, and we're right at that now. We're 22 years. Here's the Elizabeth line, the hormonal Liza. This is the horizon, the horizon. And there is the Ile de Nuit. And here is the Ark of the Covenants. And here is this HAL, the computer being risen for those unable to open this eye between their temples, their Boaz and Jachin, to find this fifth element, seat of the soul. So, you know, this is why in Morocco they have the 5-pointed star. Mor is death. And Kroko, Oko, Amit, devourer of the dead. Seat of the soul, the pineal gland, the left and the right of the brain, west and the east, the gates, the dub L07, Mart. It's the merging of Libra and Scorpio. And that last 8 is taken away. The gates through the sun and the moon. And there is the Pierre au Fond, Pierre Fond, where this chateau is. And here in Biarritz, you have got the Magdalene, the Madeleine It's where all the skulls, the cemetery is in Paris, in the Madeleine. This is the skull, the temples. If you can find your ark, your île, your island. She's on an island, just like Notre Dame is on the island of St. Louis in Paris. So the 14 pieces of Osiris, all for one and one for all. Solomon's temple, the Christ within. And that's why I showed you that image, the four humours, and Christ is within. So this diamond material girl, what does she want? She wants diamonds. Diamonds are a girl's best friend. This is the 4 fixed stars. 4 fixed stars. And there again, where X marks the spot, and this Harlequin Joker is being risen. That's what Maui means. The imposter Joker, Tartuffe god, is rising in the Chi RHO, the sword in the stone of our brain, and rising Jacques. Ark of the Covenant, the alien covenant, the Vesica Pisces passage. Mercy, the mercy pillar has fallen. And here is the V for vendetta, Vulcan. Last year on the 14th of July, Macron said he was not Jupiter, he was no longer Jupiter, he was Vulcan. Je suis Vulcan. You can read that. We're going to have where the planets are right now. So we've got Moon in Pollux at the moment, and here you can see that the North Node is just at the last degrees of Aries and Libra before entering this axis of coronavirus, corona bringing up the new rhythm of the night, dark side of Venus. And this is not correct. I moved the time to 11:30 a.m. and they're still showing the sun and the moon at the last degrees of Cancer, when we can see that for the 16th we've got the sun is already in Leo. And then on the 16th, for this black moon, it is very much in Leo, and Venus will be back in Cancer, and Mars and Mercury. So Venus today is completely blinded, and by the 20th she will begin to have visibility. She's got at 1 today, she's at 0. And she's back in Cancer, and this is all opposite Saturn. So Saturn is retrograde at the moment. Pluto is back in fire, right under Altair in Sagittarius. And we've got Jupiter in Aries, North Node in the last degree, Uranus under that third eye, medulla, everything. This was all this, to make this third leg, 777, 111. This is the Third World War. This is that 777. That's why the First and the Second World War, everything was about preparation for now, to bring in this new era, this new age, and that's why it's so interesting, this whole Juliet Cameron, Alice in Wonderland, Dorothy, all these archetypes of Virgo on Earth now with her legs, bringing up this new woman. So Saturn, right opposite, retrograde. Neptune is retrograde in Pisces. Does Neptune go back to Aquarius? No. She's completely in Neptune now. Come back to now. Let's go back to the chart. Right, so Venus retrograde, Mercury and Mars, all in this Leo, all in this Babylonian king. And Saturn, this is why 11 people were killed. This is the 11th house, and the whole connection between 9th house, Sagittarius, 11th house, 9/11, and the burnings in the fires in Hawaii as Pluto had just come back to Sagittarius, and Jupiter, the ruler, conjunct to Uranus. But as you saw, he's going to be completely conjunct coming up for that next eclipse in there's just so much to look at that just keeping it. Let's just go and see Jupiter. It's going to be right for that next eclipse. Total solar eclipse, that is the closing of the cross of the great eclipses, Uranus and Jupiter conjunct. But then there's also a lunar eclipse on the 24th, 25th, again in Pisces. So we're going to have the moon in Virgo. She is 99 illuminated, so it's going to be very on the 25th, and it's probably going to be right on. It's going to be not on Spica, but in Virgo. Virgo before. So again, it's really the closing of the whole coronavirus and bringing up this new, it's 2023, if we come back here, the 25th. Where will Venus be? Yes, Venus is going to be in Pisces. Venus will be just moving away for that eclipse from Aquarius. I've got my Venus in Aquarius with Moon and Mercury, so this axis is very sensitive for me. My whole chart is this whole axis that we've got, this movement of the North and the South nodes. So I've done the best I can. I've had a lot of work, a lot going on this week, and the best way is to read the 2 last newsletters that I'm going to put in the comments. And just, this is all about staying centered. Whilst Venus has been invisible, we are seeing the worst sides of people. Of Perseverone going into the underworld. Venus's conjunction with the Sun is happening on the 13th of August. That's today. Some very important events, realizations, emotional or psychological developments connected to Venus topics will be happening. love, relationships, priorities and partnerships and contracts, self-value and self-worth. It is a bit critical time because this is the phase of Venus known as Persephone, when she was abducted to the underworld and initiated into the darker side, when she lost her innocence, was stripped bare by the god of the underworld. So there are, in extreme cases, even notes of violence or pain. There can be deep psychological processes and realizations within you, a profound inner catharsis circling around your relationship, self-value, what is valuable in your life and what is not worth your time anymore, how you love yourself or others, what you feel you deserve. Women will be especially susceptible to these influences and the animus in men. So the Venus and Moon, you know, the really men who are unconscious of their female are really showing that darker energies of Venus at the moment. They have to be more careful in regards to physical health, emotional and psychological state. If you're feeling uncomfortable, worried or stressed for any reason, don't worry. The end is near. By the 20th of August, Venus will start becoming visible and entering a much more benevolent phase as a morning star, personified by the empowered Athena Palace in ancient times. Out of the depths of the underworld, a wise and strong inner goddess is born. Once Venus enters that helical phase, many women or people ruled by Venus strongly, Libra, Taurus, so you know, people rising Libra, rising Taurus, or anybody with those strong energies, that tail is leaving Libra to move into Virgo, will start getting better. Take definite action in alignment with their previous deep realizations and crisis-spurred decisions. They will feel more empowered and coming into the light. Hold on, it's almost there. So I take you through the last few. This is a wonderful testimony from my friend who has a wonderful site. She makes t-shirts and she is saying the truth, the honest truth about these fires. She lives in Hawaii. It's my cat hiding. He is hopefully going to come up with this new Venus and recover at last from these terrible 4 months. He's been through, this is what's happening, the Lamb. And this post, the weak will never know the weak. They have no ledge to stand on, the missing link for those who can fly above the cowherds. Know thyself, thy name, en-ami. So this I put up because, you know, this is very much the energy coming in of people who cannot make the connection of the subjective and objective. They cannot open their third eye and they cannot find the 7 chakras, the 7 days of the week. This is Snow White and the 7 dwarves. So it is against the law to permit weak people to steal your strength. Never permit it. Weak people revenge, strong people forgive, intelligent people ignore. Hard people are weak people who nobody wants. And the strong, caring little whether they are wanted or not, have alone that meekness which the common herd mistake for weakness. Again, Thor, very much the energy of Vulcan, the blacksmith, the fire maker, and I think those fires were probably on a Thursday in Maui. Strong people make as many mistakes as weak people. Difference is that strong people admit their mistakes, laugh at them, learn from them. That is how they become strong. People who don't apologize, who can't say sorry, who throw that hot potato back at you, this is the people who can't deal with that Venus. Only weak-minded people get offended at someone's opinion. Only the weak are cruel. Gentleness can only be expected from the strong. All strong people pass through weak moments. And here you see Friday. This is the day that the Venus shells were spread around my village as ashtrays. She is gentle, graceful, sociable. And when she becomes the whore of Babylon, Venus, she's now in Cancer, Kali. This axis, let's come back to now. Saturn is order, Capricorn is creation, and opposite Aquarius is Leo, chaos, and opposite Cancer, Capricorn, Cancer is destruction, Kali. Venus is coming back here. So for this new black moon, Venus is going to be in Cancer, and the moon rules Cancer. The sun will be in Leo. The sun rules Leo as Venus is blinded, bringing up this really toxic side. This is the mother that punishes and rewards. She would kill to protect her innocent, to protect her child. And this is this time of year that the nights are getting shorter. We're going into the dark, and Venus is now rising as the morning star in the east. So, promiscuous, vain, vacillating. And this is very good. You can read that. You know, these are the main archetypal energies of those planets. The 7. Avoiding certain people to protect your emotional health is not a weakness, it's wisdom. Weakness is giving up, strength is perseverance. Weak people believe in luck, strong people believe in cause and effect. It is the folly of the weak-minded people to imagine they are what flattery or conceit represents them, and that it is useless for them to be what they are not, since they seem already to have acquired the reputation of it. Read that again. That is so true. Rudeness is the weak person's imitation of strength. Always observe people, how they behave with people that they feel mean nothing to them, because there you see anybody who's ever rude, they really think that that is a sign of strength. Envy is a characteristic of weak people who can't stand seeing other people growing and succeeding in their various endeavors. Envious people can't recognize and appreciate the best in themselves. Rather, they keep waiting for the downfall of successful people. Bullying happens because weak people need to prop up their ego by beating up or humiliating others. Some people don't like you just because your strength reminds them of their weakness. Don't let their hate slow you down. So all this pompous energy of the planets in Leo and the people who haven't come out of that pride. The Pride event was in Brighton on the same day as the Ile de Nuit fireworks, D'Artagnan, bright on, the bright light on. And what did they have? Rain. And the Pride people didn't care. They showed all English people, and I think the event was eventually cancelled. But again, you know, this is the lion trying to find his heart in the Wizard of Oz. The energy of Saturn opposing the planets in Leo and Venus going retrograde, and the sun, the lion lies down with the lamb. This is why this period is so important, to find the correct energies of moving towards visionary, being an exile, finding the order within yourself, leaving the chaos of Babylon. If you have to hurt other people in order to feel powerful, you are an extremely weak individual. 7 chakras. Weak people never put an end to things themselves. They always wait for the end. Still refusing to face her. Venus is rising again after the new moon on the 16th. She asked to be seen, to face the music. You will grow with her as Lucifer, Ion, It's the Eiffel Tower. It's made of iron. This is the eye of Hal. This is the all-seeing eye. You're either able to have objective view or you remain as the subject, a mignon, and the ion, bright on light, full of pride, or you fall to your knees and ask for pardon to have been so blinded by the fake light. You will survive the pain of your ignorance. If you pay attention to the patterns of your life, you'll realize everything always works out. Everything always takes you to a greater destination. You always grow, and the things you think you can't survive, you somehow divinely make it through. That's life. Always remember that. That famous song, I Will Survive, was the main song when France won the World Cup football. I Will Survive. So, you know, that is that survival instinct of the alien brain. So again, Venus flytrap, 22 years since Odyssey, 2001. Hal, the dew attacks began in 2017. In a short span of 7 years, North America experiences 2 total solar eclipses and 2 annual eclipses. This map highlights the paths of the total solar eclipses 2017 to 2024 and the annual solar eclipses of 2021 and 2023. Next one is Paris for the Olympics 2024. The French singer Johnny Hallyday, Allumer le Feu, died of lung cancer at 10:10 p.m. on 5th of December. How wow I 50. The Who. 10, say 10. December, yeah, I showed you that at the beginning of the video. So this is a post from a friend, before and after. This is your smart meters. This dew energy works with smart meters. And this is some, you know, you've got the green god there. There is the green man. As the sun and Venus rose on the east. And this is in my garden, complete missed out to mark this periods. Sagittarius, TESSLA, 3-9, Venus moves forward, the 3rd of September, that's 3-9 or 3-6. It was the 3rd of September, that day I'll always remember. 6th of the 9th, Mercury Pan is retro in Leo and blinded by the sun. So that's the video of Uno I showed you. Jupiter, Uranus in Aries and North Node in last degree of Aries. Uranus on Algol, Mars, Mercury and Venus in Leo. Venus retro and invisible, how wow I 50, hand of Fatima. Venus invisible, the dew fires in Hawaii, the A-Lion and Paris Olympics to come. So the 10th, the day of, we had the moon on Aldebaran on the bullseye. So let's just double check. Fires, Maui, dates. It's on the 8th of August, so 8-8, Lionsgate, give me a break. August the 10th. Climbs to 55. That is the 555. I'm telling you, 10, say 10, and the 55 kilometers between Alaska and Russia, Canada and Russia, CR. I mean, obviously, I haven't gone deeply into this because it's just too disturbing. There's just so many connections, but yeah. So that was the 10th moon right on Aldebaran. Yeah, it's just so ridiculous. So come back to where I was. It's not there. Okay, my invisible, how I always said that. The Dewfire, the A Lion, and Paris Olympics to come. Elvis, Evils, Levis. This is Levis. This is Cetus. This is Pisces, Neptune in Poisson at home. He becomes Poisson, and we've got Vulcan, Pluto in Sagittarius. So the darker sides of Jupiter, Poseidon, and Vulcan. Hawaii shares the same general latitude of 20 north with cities and environments such as Hong Kong, Mecca, the Sahara Desert, and Mexico City. The state of Hawaii has 4 counties, city and country of Honolulu, Kauai, Maui, and Hawaii. Why is Elvis so associated with Hawaii? A look at Elvis Presley's love affair with Hawaii. Presley's love affair with Hawaii began in November 1957 when he held his first concerts on Hawaii at the old Honolulu Stadium, the Army Barracks. He traveled to the islands frequently to film movies, record music, vacation. So there's all that connection. Okay, anything else I need to show you? I think the rest. So yeah, let's just finish with that. 11th year, 350 years that the dart in Enyon 5-pointed star has been celebrated and prepared to kill the true V5. 11th house Aquarius, as Saturn sits now on the third eye Formerhold. But D'Artagnan, 9th house Sagittarius, the caped horse, man, Zorro, Jacques, Merlin and Arthur, Axis, Rise, the Tartuffe, that's the name of Maui, the imposter, the Joker, the fake king, the 13th sign, which is that A, the 13th sign. The symbol is this A that we see in this great eclipse. A makes 1 1. A is a 1, and that is the star Altair, where Pluto sits right now. Bull, Venus, the gentle cow, is retro opposite Saturn in Aquarius. Venus retro back to Cancer. Mars, Mercury in Leo, as Mercury the Dauphin will be retro and Mars sit in Pride, Leo. All for one and one for all, pieces of Osiris. Bone of Iris, and this show in London is going to be in Mary Le Bone, the Bone, Mary Le Bone. All the vineyards, and that's the new Elizabeth line. All the vineyards are poisoned by mildew, representing the CVVC. So where I am, all the vines are killed, are poisoned. And that is my postcode. The postcode of where I live is 322. Corona Virgo, Great's fertility, and Virus Victor Pisces. It's Victoria, glorious, victorious. Alcohol, algol, medulla, algol comes from alcohol. Spirit, Amy is soul, winehouse, the journey from flesh to spirit. The medulla bird in a cage, Coco Chanel, number 5. The Venus hand, Hawaii 5-0. The all-seeing eye of Venus is risen, or you make the journey through the dark side of the moon. So we've got celebrating. We had on the 5th of August to open these last fires in the Isle of the island of Maui. And then we're celebrating the 11 years of the festival of Lupiac. Next to me, the dart in Enyon, D'Artagnan, where I live, where the labyrinth is. And we are the 5-pointed star. So This is just showing, and this is showing all the vines are sick. You know, the women, that's the end of fertility, and this is 11 people killed. So killing Saturn, 11th house, and rising Mercury. And the 3rd of September, that day I'll always remember, when Venus goes forward, we've got a big bull tour Fiesta Brava on Wednesday, the 9th of August. So that is being celebrated, and there are all the people watching the fireworks of the fires of Gascon that has opened, the burning down of the tobacco in Pierrefonds, the fire killing 11 people, and the fires in Maui. And of course, before this, we've had in Canada the terrible, terrible fires as well. And here is D'Artagnan. Okay. Stay lie low and stay centered. Avoid people that have these jealous feelings. It's, you know, it's all sensitive people. We can feel it. And I'll leave you in the comments with the past newsletters so you can really read in an ordered fashion. You know, this is chaos and destruction. This is the Solomon temples. This is the merging. We've got the 888 here. It's the 8, the sun, the moon, and Venus right in the middle. So, and this is the time that we've got the moon in Pollux and Castor, and this is when my son-in-law's brother died. I gave you the wrong year. So 2020 was when the first brother died, exactly where the sun is right now, exactly where the sun is now. So 2020, and then in 21, that was when my son-in-law died 1 year after, because we've now left Gemini and the summer solstice sits on the wand of Merlin. And this is what's being risen now in the galactic gap. Okay, my darlings, I love you very much, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.